What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Creature Cast, the official Console Creatures podcast. I'm your host, Steve Egvar, and alongside me, my good pal Bobby. How the heck are you?
I feel like we're all in that post SGF haze, and
Mm,
I know I said this yesterday, but my voice is shot. It was a crazy 4 days, so I'm feeling good, but I'm tired.
yeah,
What about you?
I'm doing well. Yeah, no, I definitely feel that post SGF haze as well. I slept 11 hours, so I'm feeling pretty good right now. But yesterday I was essentially dead to the world. I know that we did a little impromptu cameo over with our friends Game Explain yesterday. Don't even remember doing that really. I was kind of just in and out
Yep,
of sleep, and we just powered through that. So appreciate Joey from Game Explain for having us over there talking about Monster Hunter Wilds.
yep.
But yeah, Bobby, I mean, we flew down all the way over to Los Angeles for Summer Game Fest. We went to the Xbox Game Showcase. We went to Ubisoft Forward, got to play a hell of a lot of games, see a lot of great announcements, meet a lot of great people in the industry. Before we start talking about like any of our hands-on demos or games that we saw, what was your first whole takeaway? Because both of us first time down in for SGF. I want to
Right.
hear your overall views. Like how was it for you?
So I think overall, like I feel like it was a good experience, but there were a lot of challenges, and I'm sure
Mm,
you can agree with me. There was just too much travel for 4 days. I mean, we literally got there and we had to keep going back between 3 or 4 different locations every day.
yep.
And I know we've spoken about this that there should be an event where everything is in one building where everyone can kind of gather. But I don't know.
Mm,
I don't know why they've never thought of that. Why there's
never.
never one event. But yeah, I mean, SGF overall, great stuff. Um, I feel like the industry's in a good space
Yep.
despite the layoffs. Like the creativity is there. It's just that now needs to be supplemented by supporting the developers. But overall, like great. I think it was good. It was a solid B for me.
Yeah, no, that's great to hear. I also agree with you. I think that there was a lot of hustle and bustle just because of the way, you know, where we were located, like hotel wise, versus the venues of SGF, the actual showcase itself. Play days was in another location in Los Angeles altogether. Then Xbox was in their space, and then Ubisoft was in their space. In terms of just getting people out there to play games, to celebrate games, talk to one another. It was a lot of organization. I know we both
Yeah,
had spreadsheets and calendars and stuff like that. And from a
and we
macro
all
level, I really enjoyed that just from the organizational point. But like, it,
it
I,
could have
I
been
it could have been better, sure. But
I
yeah, I was exhausted after all of that.
it was that, and there was missed appointments. Like I missed some appointments.
Mm,
The timing was really bad, or I had to cut an appointment short
yes.
because we were across town for Xbox, and then they're like, "Well, your appointment's at this time," and we got there and traffic is horrendous the entire time. So it's like something that would take normally 15 minutes took double that. And yeah,
Right.
I don't know. I feel like to compare it, it'd be like having Fan Expo in downtown Toronto, and then you got to go to Etobicoke for the gaming stuff, and then you got to go to like Aurora for like the comic stuff, and you just got to jettison back between all three locations, and that's kind of what it felt like. And
Right. Yeah.
yeah, it just that was probably my biggest disappointment is that it really it didn't give us enough time to play enough games. And I still played a lot, but I feel like I could have fit in at least 3 or 4 more appointments in the time that I had to, really talk to developers and get to know why they're making these games. But yeah,
Mhm.
I think that's probably the biggest takeaway, and I hope whoever's listening uh, and working on SGF, kind of takes it to heart because it is a big thing, and I'm sure industry people from across the world and the US that we were talking to have the same issue. It's just, yeah, there's not enough time and there's just too much space to cross to get there to get to our appointments. But yeah,
Mhm.
great. I think, yeah, like I said, it's a great experience. If you're on the fence, I think you should go one time to SGF just to kind of experience it and just kind of see the magic of talking to developers because all the negativity that's happening in the industry, you don't really feel it because everyone's just there talking games and just being in the moment and getting to know each other. And that was probably the coolest thing for
It
me.
was. Yeah, I know, 2024 has been pretty dire for people in the industry, whether on the media side or the
Right.
developer side, but seeing everyone kind of come together under, one roof, so to speak, was great. Everyone was kind of celebrating what we're all there for, which was really cool ass games. And that was the biggest takeaway for me, is just being able to talk to developers, talk to other members of the press, other, everyone that has something to do with games, celebrating games all together. And I think that was the
Yeah,
biggest takeaway.
exactly. And it's just weird. Like you're walking down in play days and you're seeing like I saw people talking to Yoshpi and he was there.
Yeah.
And it's like, or Jeff's just walking down the alley to get to a mixer, and it's like, oh, everyone's here, like everyone
Uh-huh.
is here.
Yep.
But yeah, it's cool to see that, and it's a good time to celebrate games. This, like I said, despite all that, it is a good reminder that this is an industry where developers make games not just for money, but for passion projects and to make a name for themselves. And speaking to some developers this weekend, I noticed that, and I was reminded of that. That's what
Right.
they're here for.
Yeah. Yeah, and above all else, we got to go hands-on with a ton of games. I
Hmm.
want to kick things off over to you firsthand with you went hands-on with Flintlock, the Siege of Dawn. Floor is yours.
Yeah.
Tell me all about this game because it looks very interesting. It was shown off at the Xbox Game Showcase. Yeah, floor is yours, my friend.
So, just this, top level thought is it really took me by surprise. I mean, I didn't know what it was. I mean, I've seen
Right.
the trailers, but then I got to play it, and it's like a really fast, dynamic, uh, Souls like, I want to say, because it has that core difficulty, and it's just compounded with some really great mechanics. Like you have a lot of tools available to you in the demo that I was playing. I think the guy
Hmm.
was saying the developer was about halfway through the game. It's just really crazy how I don't want to say difficult, but like it's a challenging game, and it doesn't help that you're playing these demos and you're dropped into the middle section with all these skills and stuff, and you don't know what to do. But within a couple minutes, I just kind of played around with the skill trees and just the loot, because it is a loot based game. Like you're obviously finding color coded stuff, and then you're building your character, and then you're fighting. But I'm just going to read just a brief little description of what it
Sure.
is, because like I said, I only had about half hour. But you play as an elite member of the coalition army, and you have a mysterious fox like companion called an Enki, and your basic mission is to stop these gods from destroying your world. So, with your little fox, you're basically going around the world and trying to, restore the balance of your world. And that's kind of what I was told it was. And now I'm seeing that's kind of what it is. But I mean, it is a really mobile game. So you're very, you're very mobile. Let's say that you're
Hmm.
mobile. You're jumping around maps. You have this little fox that can hoist enemies up into the air and hold them in like the stasis field, so you can jump up there and nail them with your axe or your swords or your guns. And it's just about exploiting your character's abilities and taking the most of these enemies down, right? And it's it's
Yep.
it's a really fun game. It's obviously not like a Rise of the Ronin and or or a Neo or an Elden Ring, but I mean it feels very similar in how it plays in that regard, I would say.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, for what it is, it's coming out in a month and it felt really complete. I mean, I played the demo for about a half hour, 20 minutes, and then I noticed there was very little issues. Like I think there were just some screen sharing, but the game really felt good to play. It sounded great. It looked incredible. And I mean, it's from us. I think 844 is like a pretty small studio. I think they're from New Zealand, and um, everything I played was really good. The character models were great. There were the endings were varied. Like there was a good variety of skills, enemies. The maps were pretty big. I think they gave us a small little sliver where you're starting off in a port, and you have to go to this possessed town where all these monsters are congregating, and you have to fight through them to get to the boss. And it was just great. It was a great fun time. I feel like it's going to be a surprise hit of 2024.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a surprise for me as well. I was not expecting it to be just around the corner. Seeing it once again at the Xbox Game Showcase, I'm looking forward to playing it. I didn't get a chance to go hands on with it, but just talking to you and talking to other people who went hands on, definitely sold me on it. I like how vertical the game is, like we saw in the B-roll that I was throwing up there. Yeah, you can propel yourself up, and you're really working, and it seems that you're working in tandem with that little fox critter. I like it. I think it's a really cool kind of surprise for the summer, and I'm digging that.
And yeah, the demo's out now. I don't know if it's the same demo because I haven't played it yet, but
Ah,
the one I played, it was great. It was a great little taste of the full game, and I actually emailed their PR team just to say, like, I know it's out in a month, but I want it now, and I'm just waiting to hear back from them. I doubt it'll work, but
you
I shot
never
my
know.
shot and I wanted it. So, but yeah, definitely, I feel like this is going to be a great game. I already feel like I'm going to recommend it when it comes out. I mean, it felt, like I said, really good to play. It felt complete. It had a lot of mechanics that I like. So, I mean, it's already a bonus in my roster for 2024. Like, it is a great game from the sounds of it and I played. So yeah, I'm really excited for Flintlock, the Siege of Dawn.
That's cool.
Which is out on July 18th.
Yeah. From Flintlock to Flock, Bobby, you also went on with this little game. Tell me more about it.
So Flock was a really brief game, but I didn't have much time with it. I think I spent about 15 minutes with it just because, like I said, we had appointments. We had appointments that were really back to back, but I don't know how to describe this game. It kind of reminds me of oh god, Steve, what was that game that we were all obsessed with in 2020? Come on, we know the song.
I don't. I'm not.
It was from. Remember the little man.
I don't know which song. Which song?
What was that song that we were all singing in 2020? It was like that really weird game where you're going around capturing creatures. Remember that game? That
Bug Snacks.
Bug Snacks.
Bug Snacks. Yeah.
Bug
Okay.
Snacks.
How could we forget Bug Snacks?
I did because I mean, it was 4 years ago, but this game was really weird. It's Flock's a multiplayer game, so basically, I didn't have anybody to play with, but you're a flying shepherd, and you're basically, as you can see, you go around these levels and you just try to record, like, I guess, like pages of your book to document what these animals are.
Mm-hmm.
So the animals are really weird. So like one, you can see, like, it looks like a flounder fish, but it looks like a bean at the same time. And it's just these really fantastical creatures that make no sense, and they're obviously not real, but I wish they were, because as you can see, they're incredible. But like I said, I didn't have much time with it, and it was really cool. I want to do a full playthrough. I hope there's a demo coming out, but I mean, it's colorful, it's fun. I had no issues with it. It was a nice little palate cleanser after coming off some more serious games during the day. And this one was just like a little thing you can kind of shut your mind off of and just, record. It's like a little Pokemon Snap game. You can record documents and pages of these characters, and that's really what it is. And I mean, what more do you need? I mean, it's a lighthearted game.
Yeah, no, it looks adorable. I like the animation style, kind of just the design aesthetics of the different plants in the background and stuff like that. It's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's out July 16th, so it's not long, but Annapurna don't miss. Their games are generally really, really good. So, I mean, I've played like 3 or 4 games this year by them, and I love their games. So this is more of that, and it's out pretty soon. So, I mean, yeah, good stuff. I'm all for these kind of games.
Awesome. Here at Playdays, I got a chance to talk to the developers who are making these games, give them, my thoughts, my opinions on it, whether it was good or maybe a little bit critical, and they were very receptive to it. One game that I'll bring up just right off the rip here is Fear the Spotlight, which comes from Blumhouse. It is a cozy. Sorry, I'm going to bring up the official developer name because it was part of their Blumhouse Games initiative. Blumhouse came out during SGF and was like, "Hey, we're publishing 6 games altogether, and this is one of them. Fear the Spotlight was one of them, and it is developed by Cozy Game Pals. Sorry about that. Cozy Game Pals is actually a husband and wife duo team. Essentially, what they did was they actually published this game, and Blumhouse approached them, really liked the style, really liked the gameplay, and said, "How would you guys love a whole bunch of money?" And they said, "Yeah." And they essentially used that to expand the game, make it bigger, larger. And essentially, what this game is that you play as this young woman and her friend who break into their high school to get into their library, where, as you can see here, if you're watching the video, there's a Ouija board locked behind a glass case. So they're there to interact with the spirits, because what happened at the library was that there was a fire, whole bunch of people died in there, they rebuilt the library and so forth. So they're trying to get in with the spirits. And yeah, the game is essentially a puzzle game, kind of reminiscent of Resident Evil, the first game, or the original Silent Hill. There's no combat in it, so you're just interacting with the environment and solving these puzzles. Here we got the Ouija board as well. So right as soon as the you're interacting with the Ouija board, spooky stuff starts popping off, and it's very, very scary. It's but the atmosphere when you're wearing the headphones is immaculate. I love the low poly visuals of the game. The audio is incredible, and it also has this great '90s film grain over it, like you're watching an old VHS tape, like you just pulled it out of your parents' basement, you popped it in the VHS. It's old, it's worn down, and all of this stuff, the film grain that's over it, you can actually slide that. So if it really isn't your vibe, or if you want to see, if you might be low vision and want to see the picture clear, you can definitely tailor that as well. I thought that was great. But this was a game of the show for me. I'm a spooky boy. Everyone knows I'm a spooky boy if you know me. But yeah, this game, I played it for about 30 minutes and instantly fell in love with it. Yeah, it was really great stuff. We're gonna see if Bobby can get back in here. No idea if he will. If not, the show goes on. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for this little mishap. Gonna check in with him, but no, we're gonna continue rolling on here. We're gonna continue rolling on with SGF. That's right. The next game on my list will be Hyperlight Breaker. This game is kind of essentially a spin-off. It's a prequel to Hyperlight Breaker, if you're familiar with that game. This is an open world, procedurally generated game where you're essentially going through this open world area, fighting enemies, whether it's melee combat, it's range combat, and the whole while you have a hoverboard that you can bring up and kind of help you get from point A to point B. You also have a like a parasol, like a almost like Zelda, where you can get up there, jump down, you can kind of start drifting and floating and everything. It's really helpful from getting from point A to point B. Like you're seeing here, if you're watching the video, all the enemies are colorful, they're bright, they're dynamic. And I didn't spend too much of my time with the game, unfortunately. I probably had, I don't know, 15 minutes with the demo. It only gave me a small taste at the combat, the open world traversal, and essentially the game loop, which is, hey, you're going out in this open world, you're essentially trying to find these boss keys. And what boss keys does is once you obtain them, you can actually get to a new area in which there is a boss to kind of fight and everything. I didn't get that far, so I don't really know what the bosses look like. But that being said, it's an interesting game. I myself didn't really play Hyperlight Breaker, Drifter, sorry, my mistake, Drifter, all that much, but Breaker, it being an open world game, very stylized, it has me interested. Um, Very, very interested, to be honest. And yeah, let's continue on here. We are going on the fly. Next up on my let me pull it up here. New World Aeternum. This is from Amazon Games publisher. If you're familiar with New World, it is an open world MMO that was specifically designed for PC. This here is a brand new kind of entry, a brand new way for to get players in. Is being built as a new entry point for consoles as well. It's being specifically developed with consoles in mind. PlayStation 5, Xbox Series consoles. That's what the development team told me, is that now they're trying to get a larger, wider player base. So here you're essentially a brand new character. There's new character classes, new archetypes that you can kind of go through and experiment with. And as this new character, you wash up upon this new shore, the which is the central point of Aeternum. And from here, yeah, it's just an open world MMO. Combat's really sleek, and you can customize how you want to play. Whether you're playing with so for the one I chose, which was the new archetype, it had a large like two-handed hammer or a two-handed great axe, just swinging them. You're having a lot of fun. The combat feels really good. And once you get into the open world, you're interacting and doing quests with characters. You'll see other players, in the open world. You can go out on missions together with them or just do it solo. I was doing a couple of them solo on my own. I found no real uh, detriment to playing on my own, but I definitely felt that when playing with other players, I was able to complete the objective quicker and get from one mission to the next very, very easily. Right here, I want to show off the one of the boss battles very early on in the demo. The boss battle here, if you watch the video over on our YouTube channel, you can kind of get a glimpse here. Very stylized. I love the fact that this character wears this like sick piece of armor. He's got an awesome sword. There it is. Yeah, and I just thought that the combat, the one-to-one combat with you and a boss works really well. It really sets the stage for some really interesting combat throughout the game. As someone who's not traditionally a fan of MMOs like ESO or even games like Valheim and stuff like that, New World definitely interested me only because it is coming to consoles. It had this been an expansion or an additional experience for PC only, I don't know if I would be all that interested. But that being said, I'm interested with what we see. Bobby is back in here. Let's get him in.
Windows
Hello.
just like like I don't know what happened when I was in the middle of talking and Windows just like basically said, "Nope, I'm updating on you." And I was like, "Okay, well,
that's okay. That's okay." The show is continuing. The show is continuing. We're here. We're talking New World. Bobby, I forget. Did you play the demo of New World?
No, I did not. I'm devastated I didn't. But I saw we had a digital briefing before that, and from what I saw, it looked really great. And I actually do want to play this game.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just saying earlier that traditionally I'm not an MMO fan or a real player, but this one coming to consoles definitely interests me.
I mean, that's a big thing for Amazon that it's a new console game. So I mean, I do remember that the developers saying they really worked hard on implementing console controls. So I mean, yeah, I'm all for it. I mean, a new MMO on console is always welcome to me. I just my only concern actually during the briefing was, is it going to stick around? Because I mean,
sure,
there's just too many games that are free to play these days, and I mean, you really got to have a roster of content to support the player. And I mean,
of course,
yeah, that's my big thing. But like, it looks great. I mean, I'm surprised that it's a brand new game. I thought it would be just like a rebranding of New World, but no, it's a full brand new game. It's made specifically with consoles in mind. I feel.
That's exactly it. Yeah. I know that can be kind of confusing for people, whether or not they're looking at this as an expansion or some sort of like remake, like a remaster just made for consoles. But this is essentially a new game for all intents and purposes. So even if you are fans of the original New World, there's going to be a lot of content here for you to kind of sink your teeth into.
Yeah, I'm all for it. New games, always good thing.
Yeah. Let's talk about Star Wars Outlaws. Bobby, you can take this and start off. What were your thoughts here?
Is it August yet? Is my first thought, and I actually asked the guy who was helping. I guess he was guiding us through the demos and just kind of helping us. I love this game. I wouldn't in, I guess, cold. I didn't really have a lot of excitement for it, but I mean, after spending the hour with it, I'm like convinced that it really is one of the best games that are probably going to launch this year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just because of how good it looks or how it plays, but there's a lot of passion behind this game, and I feel like that's what I didn't realize was there. Because I mean, we all kind of go, "Oh, Ubisoft, where, you know, they're just turning out another game," but it's not just another game by Ubisoft. It's got Ubisoft massive at the helm, and they know how to make good shooters. I mean, look at the Division, look at Division 2. Those are two of the best looter shooters. Is that what it is? A looter shooter?
Yeah, we can consider them looter shooters.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, overall, I like it. I love KVS. Nyx is adorable. I wish he was real.
Yep.
He's also like a Swiss Army knife of what he can do. And yeah, I mean, the first demo was probably my least favorite.
Okay.
Just because it was brief and it didn't really. It offered me obviously give us a sliver of, you know, dogfighting and, you know, invading. I think it was an Imperial Star. It was some kind of Imperial ship that we invaded. But the second demo was probably my favorite. It had an Assassin's Creed flavor. It was a mix of Uncharted. It had all the elements that I was looking for in that second demo. It had, you know, humor in it. It had some serious moments, and it played really well. I mean, the platforming was spot on. I had no issue outside of one minor small glitch with picking up some kind of item that was needed for the story. But yeah, overall, like, I was like, wow, this is definitely going to be a big game for not only Ubisoft but Star Wars fans, and I feel like it will be a good way to bring people in because there's no baggage from previous games. You probably have to have like a high level knowledge of some characters, but it's not something I need to worry about. And then the third demo was good. I feel like there are some puzzles that kind of worried me. I mean, I know that you finished the demo really quickly, but there are some I was playing around with that were struggling with the puzzle because I don't know. I assume it's rhythm based, but it was just like you have to tap RT or L2 to like the color of a light on the console, and if you're not doing it right, it basically just locks you out of progressing. So I know people had issues with that, but you know, once I learned, you know, what you had to do, like it actually was a fun little mini game. But I mean, I really want to play this game right now. I think this is probably one of my favorite games of the whole show, and that, you know, happened within an hour of the last day of everything happening. So, you know, overall, great game. I know you were very happy with it. I know you are a big Star Wars guy.
Yeah, I'm a huge Star Wars guy. I was a little. It's not that I was. I didn't believe in this game. Obviously, I love Ubisoft massive. I love the Division, but there was just I needed to see more. I needed to get on the sticks with this game and kind of try it out myself. I mean, especially coming off of, you know, Jedi Survivor and Fallen Order and stuff like that. I was like, okay, let's see what Ubisoft massive can do with the Star Wars IP. And after playing it, this game instantly rose as one of my most anticipated games this year. I think that they really did a good job of giving us 3 specific demos. The one we're seeing right now is it's pure combat based. So the combat of KVS shooting her guns off, going in guns blazing, and then getting into the ship and doing some of the dog fighting, which I think is just exceptional. I think honestly, this is on par, if not even just as good as the ship combat in Starfield, which I think that Bethesda really sold to me. I had a lot of fun with that ship combat in that game. So that first demo did a really good job with the combat. The second one was all traversal based and getting from point A to point B. I thought that was great in terms of it providing very natural and fluid ways of jumping around. A lot of the climbing mechanics are very similar to Assassin's Creed, but I thought it was quicker, it was snappier. You're not just kind of like you're not going from like one hand to the next, which I think that in some, especially older Assassin's Creed games, can get a little monotonous and a little slow and plodding. Here it's very quick. You're climbing, jumping onto a platform, you're going from that platform, shooting off your grappling hook, grabbing onto something, swinging, running. It's very fluid and fun, I found. And then the last demo is very much, hey, here's the stealth based combat in which Nyx can be used as like almost like a sonar array, almost like your eagle vision from Assassin's Creed, if you will. Target and mark enemies. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying Nyx is great. Like honestly, it wasn't until I guess maybe the third demo that I finally understood like how important Nyx is, because Nyx really is. Well, I mean, just to go back, I mean, Ubisoft said that Nyx and K are basically one character, so like Nyx is an extension of K. So the third demo, because it was so stealth heavy, because you're going into this base to steal something, Nyx was so critical to surviving that I struggled with it because I didn't understand that till like my fourth attempt. But then once I learned that Nyx can be used to either steal something or be a distraction or go somewhere and blow something up, it was like, wow, okay, they really thought outside the box. It's not just like an Assassin's Creed where you have your eagle and it just flies out and it just does like an overview. In this situation, Nyx is just it's literally like having a second person helping you, and it's great. And I'm just pleasantly surprised by Nyx. Nyx is definitely a cool little character. He's like the new BB-8, I feel.
Yeah, honestly, and to your point, it serves the function of a mechanic, of a gameplay system, while also being an integral character as well to the story, which I think is really great, really endearing. And the third demo, on top of just being stealth based, introduces us and emphasizes the different ways of case gun functioning. So you have a regular blaster, but then you also have this like electrocution ammunition that you can use as well, which not only like stuns certain enemies and holds them in their tracks, but is used for puzzles. There are certain doors or pathways that you must like shoot them with the electronic gun and kind of power them up in order to open the door and stuff like that. I thought that was good. And then some of the also like the puzzles is really cool too. Like there's one that's almost like a Wordle where you're matching the position and whatnot of different symbols. It's I think it's like a grid base of like 4, and it will basically tell you, hey, this one is on the line, this is not on the line. This one's in the right position or not. This one's in the wrong position, so you just have to move it around. If you played Wordle, you'll know exactly what to do. And then there's the second puzzle, which, to your point, I like as an idea. I don't know how much I like it in the grand scheme of things, because it is very rhythm.
If you don't understand it, it's difficult. Like that's what it is. I think if you don't have the rhythm down, like it's impossible. And that's what happened next to me, because he was getting frustrated to the point where they just said, we'll just skip the puzzles for you. And I didn't want to do that because like I knew I could do it. I think you just get through that first hurdle. But once it makes sense, it's like, this is a great little way to. It's a different puzzle, I guess. It's not something you see every day, and I liked it. But
for me, I was that guy who was actively getting frustrated. It really didn't help that we had the demo was like right behind me, and I was like, this guy's just judging me because
he was judging us.
I'm just a white boy who has no rhythm whatsoever. But it's kind of like Hi-Fi Rush, where you have to hit the trigger on the beat of this
blue light
puzzle. It's like dun dun dun. So you have to hit it at that certain point. Otherwise, the lock just will never get unlocked. So I'm sure the game will have some sort of systems to bypass that and everything, but I don't like doing that. But if it does get irritating, I'm certainly going to lean on that when the game comes out in full.
I hope maybe they have like an option to skip it. That'll probably be the best option. But
like I said, it's an interesting idea just to get away from like the Skyrim lock picking where you're doing like the key or the bobby pins and stuff.
I didn't like it. I wasn't a fan of the Starfield game.
Yeah, it's just a new flavor. I don't know how I'll like it when the end game comes out, but I'm very interested now that I've gotten the gameplay loop and have exposed myself to it. Now it's just about story. Are they going to be able to land the story, make Kay a very compelling character? Already, I like her. The one thing I will say though, very interested why they didn't let us use the speed bike longer. There's a
I
moment
know.
in the
It
second
made more sense.
there's a portion at the end of the second demo where she gets on the speed bike and you basically use it for, and I'm not trying to be hyperbolic or exaggerate,
Mhm.
15 seconds
I would say even
and
less. It's like you get
even
on,
less.
and then it just cuts to black, and it's like, oh, okay, well,
Yeah. You get like a small taste of like, oh yeah, left, right, blah, blah, blah. Here's how to, propel, like, here's how to jumpstart the gas and everything. And then it just ends. I was like,
yeah,
ah, that's anticlimactic, but also this feels to me as a very core part of the gameplay. And I wish
yeah,
we got a little more exposure there. I
exactly.
want to control that thing. In driving in Ubisoft games can be hit and miss. It could be something like Far Cry, in which it's very cumbersome and not really that great,
Yep.
or it could be The Crew, in which driving is exceptional and a lot of fun. So yeah, I'm curious why they didn't let us use it a little more. If they're trying to, I don't know, hide something just closer to release date. If they're still working on it actively, very curious. Yeah,
Yeah, but whatever. I mean, I'm sure it'll be fine. But I mean, it was just kind of weird. It was
yeah,
just like they had the speeder bike at the show to sit
that's
on,
true. Yeah, exactly. It was
and
right
then
there. We got to sit
yeah,
on
yeah,
it.
yeah, and then you can't actually play with it. But whatever. I mean, that's what it is. It is what it is. I
Yeah.
mean, there's obviously flavors of Ubisoft in this game. I mean, the dog fighting felt like something out of Starlink. And then
Mm,
like I said, we see everything there. Like there's Assassin's Creed. There was hints of the Division. So it's all there. It's just
yeah.
it's just been tweaked to be Star Wars.
Yeah, which is not a bad thing at all.
No.
The other Ubisoft game that we didn't get to go hands-on with, but we got to see a behind closed doors kind of demo of,
Yeah.
was Assassin's Creed Shadows. Essentially, what they showed us was, hey, we're gonna go back to everything that was shown during the Ubisoft Forward. So we got to see, Yasuke's section of him going through the town, beating
Mhm.
up all those guys very brutally. It was awesome. And then I'm always gonna mispronounce her name, is Naoki
It's like Naui or something. Naui.
Naui. Yes, thank you. And that ended up uh, being the second section where they show her going through and at night being very stealthy and everything. But then what they did was they sat us down in a behind closed doors section where they said, okay, let's take that second part that say it again for me. What's her name?
Naui.
Naue, thank you. Let's show off her section again, but with different aspects of it. So the first one they showed us was, let's go through this again, but it's going to be daylight and we're going to take a not so stealthy approach. So Naue's going through, just busting down guys, just beating them up and everything. It looks great. We get to see a lot more of her arsenal,
Yeah.
and that was amazing. I thought showcasing her character as this
Yep.
spry assassin. They talked to us about how Naue is the smallest in
Yep.
size
Yeah.
that they've ever done before. So I think that's really going to go a long way in
Big
terms of her
benefit.
fights,
Yeah.
as well as a benefit of like the gameplay, as well as being able to hide and stuff like that, which I think is really neat and awesome. The one attack that she has where she's just like throwing around her little, I don't know the weapon's name, but it's like the pickaxe thing on a rope.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Where she's just doing like
I
a
think
whirlwind.
the Kunitsugui or whatever. I gotta look it up. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
the sickle on the chain.
Right. That thing is fucking amazing. Like that's when I was all in on this game, but the moment they broke that out, I was like, "Oh my god, this is so awesome and
And
cool."
it's a versatile too. I mean, it's not just for fighting. Like you can traverse with it. You can use it to get up the buildings. Like I feel like they were using it
Yes,
to you can pull yourself to enemies to
right.
get across gaps and stuff. Like it is a cool tool. I feel like they're probably still holding things back from what we saw because it was a very controlled demo all three times,
Yep.
despite showing us three different ways. But yeah, no, you know what? She's she's the most petite assassin they've ever had, but she's pretty solid. Like she's brutal. Some of the stuff that we saw in the closed door demo was insane. There's a lot of hate towards the whole situation with Yasuke, but now he's a really cool character from what I've seen. Like her skill sets are incredible. Like she's a shinobi. She's legitimately a fast assassin. She can really cover track. She can cover space. She can climb up the rafters to hide. Like there's no other game that's done that in the series before, and I'm excited to to implement the stealth that the series I felt was always lacking, and it
Right.
feels like they're finally hitting a stride with that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I think this is the game I think a lot of people have been waiting for, that Ghost of Tsushima-esque feudal Japan Assassin's Creed. And so far from what we've seen, again, we didn't get a chance to play it ourselves, but everything that we've seen, I think, just amplifies that
yeah, I mean,
they've been working on this and want to deliver. It's not just a run-of-the-mill Assassin's Creed game. This is the one that I think Ubisoft wants to nail the most, of like,
yeah,
"Hey, we've heard you, and we want this game to be so special." And if they do it, I mean, I could see this being a great game of the year contender.
the potential's there for sure. I just need to see a few things. Like I want to make sure the
Sure,
map isn't, Assassin's Creed Unity. I don't.
of
I doubt
course.
it will be. Like I don't need a sprawling map. Like England was too big for me. I feel
Mm,
like it really padded the playtime out by dozens of hours. So I think they've done a good job of shrinking it down. And I see there's a lot more scale. Like it actually feels like a bigger world because I mean, in Valhalla, for example, like you obviously had towns and they were pretty decently sized, but they didn't have the scale. And now you're going back to Japan in this game, and there's a lot of verticality because obviously you have a grappling hook now. You can obviously go up
mhm.
buildings, and it's there. It's things that we've always been asking for. Like there is more stealth. Like you can do full stealth runs in this game because the tools are there to support your character.
Well, I
And
think
yeah,
what's super interesting is that they're doing like a best of both worlds approach, where Yasuke isn't stealth whatsoever. They specifically say because of his stature, because of his size, there is no stealth when you play as him. So you're
yeah, you can't climb
specifically
or anything.
going, yeah, you're specifically as this towering beast, and they even do it integrate into the lore of like, at this point in the story, everyone knows of him. Everyone knows his position. Everyone notices him. So there is no chance to kind of like um stealth your way, or like fit in, or slink your way into crowds and stuff like that. Everyone just notices him, and
He
I think
doesn't.
that's the cool thing, is that then fuck, Neo.
Now, I can't even. Oh, Naui.
Now wait, thank you. Oh my god,
Um,
yeah,
You'll
I'll
get it.
get it
You'll
one
get it.
day.
You'll get it.
But because of her stature and
Yeah.
everything, that yeah, she is the stealth one. So when players get the chance to choose whether or not they want to go for the stealth approach or the brutal approach, they can go with Naue and be that assassin, the one that the series. The one that the series has always leaned on, which is stealth-based approach. You can
Yep.
go in, go from the rooftops and jump down and assassinate people. That's what the series is known for, and they're bringing this back, but while also giving players the option here, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, I mean, you get the versatility of both. If you want to be a brawler, you can be a brawler. Like
Yep.
Yasuke, he threw hands at people, and like you could see it. Like
When he ran through that wall,
that
like
was incredible,
yeah, like he's just the juggernaut.
and that's great. And if you want to do that, because there are missions obviously where I want to do that, where I don't want to do the stealth, I can just
Yep.
brute force it. But then you have nowadays version where you can either do stealth or you can use tools and her skills to get through. Like she was fighting, I think so. Yasuke and now he fought the same samurai that you see in the demo. He's at the gate, and they're obviously doing things different. Like Sasuke could take him on.
Yep.
Yasuke could take him on, and then now she can do it, but it's gonna be a lot harder for her. She has
Right.
to use her smoke bomb. She has to use her shuriken. She has to use her speed to get around him, and I like that. So there's options now. It's not just hold R1 to charge your attack and just whittle down health. Now you have to like move and dance with these characters. Like it's cool. It's
That's right.
I feel like there's like a reinvigoration into a lot of the systems here that we haven't seen.
Yep.
And Valhalla just felt like overindulgent in what it was doing, and I feel like they finally are course correcting in a good way. So I
Yep.
feel like this is going to be a good game for Ubisoft. I feel 2024 has been a solid year for them so far. So I'm looking forward to seeing how everything turns out, because I feel like this is definitely what Assassin's Creed fans have been asking for. So yeah, overall
Yep.
it was a great showing. I'm just sad we didn't get to play because it looked great.
Likewise, yeah. It was that one game out of the entire week, and that was like, man, I really would have liked to play this game.
That's
The
all
last
I
thing
asked.
I want to say about it is that I really do hope that they go for a quality over quantity. I
Yeah.
really don't know if I have it in me to go through an entire Valhalla. So I hope
Mhm.
that, given that, there is this emphasis on choice, on this emphasis of picking between two different characters, the game isn't so overburdened that maybe down the road in a year or two, I'm like, maybe I go back to the Shadows and just replay it the other way. Like go to specific missions and I replay as Yasuke or
No way.
Naue. And yeah, I'd like to think that that could be a possibility. But then again, if it's a 100-hour game, there's no shot in hell I'll ever do that.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I just don't have the patience for those games anymore, and I feel like they are learning from this. So, I mean, just the case in point, like they were talking about Star Wars Outlaws, and they're saying it's a 30-hour game. Perfect.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Last game I had on the list was Monster Hunter Wilds. We both sat in on a behind closed doors session on this game. Hands off. Developers from Capcom, they kind of went through this open world section of it. What's your takeaway here? I know that you're more of a fan and have more
Yeah.
exposure to the series than I am. Let me know.
I mean, we spoke to Joey on Game Explained, so if you want to go check that episode out, I mean,
Yep.
do that. But for our episode, I mean, I did like it. It looks incredible being, a year out. But I think the big takeaway for me is, and that's after talking to you and Joey from Game Explain, is
Mhm.
it's not as organic as it seems like it is trying to be. And that's kind of what's concerning me. But overall, like there's just a lot of things that I do like about it. I mean, I do like that the fact that everything's now open world. It's seamless. Like you can basically start a hunt, end a hunt without going to the towns, or you can, now craft on the map. You can open up your camp. You can cook on the map. You can hold two weapons now. Like there are a lot of changes that are, I feel, implemented for better for the player. And
Mhm.
yeah, I feel like if Worlds was like the first entry into this series for a lot of people, this is probably be the one that's going to bring all those people back from 2018. Like this is definitely the game that Capcom could never make because it was on Switch and that hardware was always a bottleneck. And yeah, I feel like it's going to be a really big game for next year. This is definitely another one of those games where Capcom doesn't miss.
Yeah. For me, someone who, again, isn't that well educated or integrated into Monster Hunter at all, I was very impressed by
Yeah.
the demo. I liked what I saw. It was a very controlled demo in which they were showing off very specific elements of the overall game that's going to be coming out next year.
Yeah.
So I understand that and everything. There were some specific things that just, again, as someone who likes specific games and specific elements for games, I was kind of like, I don't know about this. That being said, like for instance, knowing that I'm going to be going through this game, whether solo or with friends and everything, and knowing that these monsters, they have health bars that just aren't visual. You're looking at visual cues of the monsters themselves. So whether or not they're sweating, panting, they have like the open red wounds that you can attack for like critical hits and stuff like that. I can definitely appreciate that. But that being said, I love a good health bar. I love knowing that me and my friends, we're all in there. We're doing chip damage, and we're seeing that health bar go down. And there's a big celebration when the thing finally goes down. Here in this demo, it was about 40 minutes, and at the end of it, the monster just kind of toppled over, died without any like fanfare, celebration, or anything like that. That's kind of a bummer for me. But that's me. I'm not saying that Capcom has to integrate a health bar. I'm just being picky right now. I'm being very specific with what I'm looking for from games.
It's something that the series doesn't normally have, and I know that some people are upset for that or even suggesting that, but it would help a lot more people to get invested in the series, I feel. But you know what? It's not something that Capcom has done, or that's fine.
Yeah.
But you know what? There's a lot of good things about this game, like the map's twice the size as Monster Hunter World. Or, I know the dynamic weather was a big thing that they were pushing, and I think that was really cool. Like, the lightning was cool,
Absolutely.
the dust storm was really cool, and the rain was cool. But yeah, I mean, those are just they're not really important to me. I'm more concerned about the gameplay, and I mean, it is something you're gonna have to invest time to. Like, a good hunt could take you up to upwards an hour. So I mean, if you don't have the patience to do that, this probably isn't the game for you. But if you are someone who likes, plan, hunt, and have the right tools, have the right weapons,
Yeah.
have the right food there for you, like, it is a good way to become a hunter, because that's basically what you're doing, right? You're hunting these monsters that cross the map because you're trying to collect their carcasses to upgrade your weapons, your equipment, and that's the whole gameplay loop, right?
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, there are like a lot of changes. Like, you can do quests from the field. Like I said, you can now hold 2 weapons. You can pick up items. You can pick up weapons from your mounts. The secrets are pretty cool. They are a little bit. They looked a little bit stronger, a little bit faster than the Palamutes.
Okay.
So those are the previous mounts and stuff like that. So it's just small changes. These are all just. I feel like they're putting all these things together for the next gen. That's kind of what I've always been saying. It's just now that they have this strong hardware, they have the capability to elevate the core experience, and I feel like that's what's happening here. But yeah, if you guys are not Monster Hunter fans, like, I urge you to check out Monster Hunter Rise. It's free in June on PlayStation, and I believe Monster Hunter World is on Game Pass right now. So I mean, it's there. It's a good way to wet your feet and just see if it's something you want to play. But I mean, make sure you have some friends that want to play with you, because that is the best way to play this game.
Yeah.
Solo hunts are fun if you have the patience and you want to play like a podcast on. But it's fun to have 3 other people with you, and you're coordinating your attacks, and you're all doing something different.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, Bobby, that about does it for this episode. We went through a whole bunch of games and talked about our overall thoughts of Summer Game Fest. I know that there's going to be a whole bunch of, other pieces of content going up on the website itself. Where can people find that?
You can find it at consolecreatures.com. We're on YouTube. We're on everything. Spotify, Apple Music. You can find us everywhere.
Wonderful. Yeah, and as for me, you can find me across the internet on, everything: Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at SVicVary, where I'll be putting up some other stuff from Summer Game Fest, some thoughts and opinions and everything. We also have a great interview with the Coalition over on Console Creatures, talking about Gears of War E-Day. Love that. Love those people over there. So go definitely check that out. But yeah, until next time, we appreciate you watching, tuning in, and we'll see you next week. We'll see ya. Bye.
Bye.